If you're here today, you probably have heard about the term mixed voice, but you are a little bit confused about it. You don't know how to find your mix, or maybe you don't know how it's supposed to feel. Then if that's the case, stay because this video is for you. In this video, I want to bring clarity to the concept of mixed voice, what it is, what it's not, and most importantly, whether it's actually helping you sing with more ease. If you're new to this channel, hi, I'm Jimena Cabrera. I am a singer, a songwriter, and a vocal coach, and the founder of the Singing Panda, a singing academy where we help you develop your voice holistically, that is, mentally, emotionally, and technically. Before we start to define anything, let's put things into perspective. Let's ask a very fundamental question. Why learn about singing technique in the first place? For me, it always comes back to this notion of ease. If you find it easy to sing, then it means that you're going to experience more freedom when you're singing. And if it feels free, if your voice feels unrestrained, then that means that you're going to be able to express whatever idea you have in your mind. And that feels super liberating. So technique enables ease, right? Technique exists to create relaxation and ease. So when we are talking about mixed voice, what we are talking about actually is technique. We are discussing technique. So the real question actually is this one. Is this technique giving me clarity and ease, or is it making things more difficult? So I'm not here to tell you what to think. Actually, I'm here to just give you more clarity so that you can understand based on your own experience whether this concept of mixed voice is making things clearer or more confusing. One very common misconception is that mixed voice is a separate register, something that you have to find and you have to master. But actually, this assumption is incorrect. Mixed voice is not a standalone register. So before we move on, let's clarify what a register is, just in case. Registers describe how your vocal folds are working. Registers like chest voice, head voice, and falsetto are physiological. So when you're talking about registers, we're not talking about theory. We're talking about actual sensations that you can feel in your body when you're singing. It feels when you're going, for example, from chest to head voice, which are two registers that I talk about in another video. I'm going to leave a link so that you can go and check it out. There I describe registers in more detail. So if you are interested, you can go ahead and check that out. But in the meantime, it's just for you to know that when you talk about registers, you're actually talking about sensations in your body. So the term chest voice or head voice is a term that is used to describe something that is actually palpable in your body when you're singing. So you can feel it. For example, when you refer to chest voice, you can feel it in your chest. You can feel the vibration in your chest when you're singing in your chest voice. Let me explain it in a different way. When you're changing from one register to another, it feels like you're crossing a border, in a sense. They feel distinct. I also describe it as changing gears. So if mixed voice is not a register, then what is it? Mixed voice is like makeup for your voice. When you apply makeup, you are enhancing certain features and maybe disguising a little bit others. You are not changing your bone structure. When we think about makeup, we are talking about superficial adaptations that change how something is perceived. So why is this makeup even necessary? When we're talking about mixed voice, what we're talking about is this makeup that we apply to our sound to make the transition between different registers seamless, smooth. So for example, for female singers, you have two registers available. You can be singing in your chest or you can be singing in your head voice. Later on, I'm going to give you an example, okay? So that you can listen and identify these two registers and how to transition between them. But for now, so when you are singing in your chest, if you haven't trained your voice enough, you're going to feel that when you transition into your head voice, suddenly it's like you're two different singers. Right? So what you want to build is a bridge between these two registers so that the transition feels smooth. And that's what we call mixed voice. So you want to build a sound that feels consistent across your range so you don't sound like two different singers. So when people talk about mixed voice, they are talking about these specific techniques that we use to apply makeup on the transition between registers so that it is not noticeable. At the Singing Panda, we are always talking about awareness, as the first step. So the first step in this case is going to be you being able to tell registers apart, right? So you want to be able to tell where you are singing. If you're a female singer, you should be able to tell if you're singing in your chest or if you're singing in your head voice. If you're a male singer, you must be able to tell if you're in your chest or if you are singing in your falsetto. And then once you know that, you are able to begin to try to mix those registers so that your voice feels like a continuum. So step number 1, identifying your registers. Get clarity on that first, because without that awareness, trying to mix will only feel confusing. Think of it this way. It's like trying to bake a cake, knowing that you have to mix ingredients, but you have no clue what the ingredients are. So once you have identified these registers, you know when you're singing in your chest or in your head voice or falsetto, then comes the time to learn how to mix these registers. And one powerful exercise that you could try is slides. Here's what you're looking for. Can you move through your bridge without your voice breaking? Can your sound remain smooth and homogeneous? Because when you can do this, that's when you've mastered what people call mixed voice. So let me show you with an example what I mean by a slide and how you want it to sound. You want it to sound smooth. You want to start in a low note, whatever low note you can imagine. It should feel like you're in your chest, and then go up into your head voice if you're a female singer, or your falsetto if you are a male singer, and then come down. And that should be done without anything breaking in between. So you want to make it feel smooth. You want uniformity in your sound. So for example, you go from a low note like this, so there I went from a low note, I started in my chest, then I went up into my head voice and came back. And so did you see how it felt like it was just one single voice? It didn't feel like two different singers, right? And there were no breaks in between. You have no idea how long it took me to learn how to do this. At the beginning, it did feel in my case like it was two different singers. So practice makes perfect. So what you want is to practice this type of exercises. And of course, if you need guidance, you want to maybe go ahead and hire a teacher so that you can learn how to do this with more ease. But in any case, these type of exercises are the exercises that are going to help you in time, because this is a process, but in time, they're going to help you build this very uniform sound that we want as singers. Technique is a system. So you may be asking yourself, so how can I do that? How can I create this illusion of continuity in my voice? So what are the ingredients of this makeup that I want to apply on my sound? So unfortunately, technique is a system, right? So that means that there are a number of gestures that need to be happening simultaneously for you to have ease when you are singing. So that means that unfortunately, there isn't just one single isolated thing that I can tell you, okay, just do this and then live happily ever after, try this hack. There are lots of hacks now happening. I don't know what's going on, but there are hacks for everything, right? So there's no magic solution, unfortunately, right? But what there is consistency. And there are, though, I'm going to pinpoint two things that are going to help you. I'm going to move you help you move forward in the right direction. So these concepts that I'm going to explain right now are things that are going to make it easier for you to create this continuity in your sound. These two areas play a huge role in the coordination between registers. Number one is breath. Breath plays a huge role. Steady airflow gives you balance, so it helps you create stability and continuity in your sound. Another key element is the position of your larynx. A lowered larynx helps you keep a uniform sound and create stability. So, like I said, technique is a system, so there are several things that need to be in place for you to have a uniform sound and for you to find your mix, right? But one thing that I can tell you, and I hope this helps, is that breath has everything to do with you finding this stability in your sound that allows you to have a uniform sound. And also another thing that is important is the position of your larynx. If it is lowered, it's going to also help you have a more uniform sound. So going back to our initial question, what do we do with the term mixed voice? Does it bring more clarity for you? So like I told you at the beginning, I believe that if it gives you more clarity, then go ahead and use it. If it doesn't, then just let it go. What's the use? In my case, in my own practice and as a vocal coach, I actually do not use the term mixed voice because I think that it makes things more confusing than they need to be. But like I said, if this term mixed voice is helping you create more ease when you're singing, then go ahead and embrace it. And my advice is that if it doesn't, just let it go. So remember, technique is there to promote relaxation and ease. So the question is, does this term help you sing with more ease or not? To recap, today we explored the following. Why mixed voice is often misunderstood, the difference between registers and blending, the role of awareness, and how to create smooth transitions between registers. So I'm curious to know, does this concept of mixed voice for you make sense? Does it make things easier or does it make them more confusing? Tell me in the comments. If you want to understand how you personally tend to approach challenges as a singer, I created a fun personality quiz that reveals your vocal spirit animal. So if you want, you can give it a try. I'm going to leave a link in the description box below. And as I always tell you, if you found this video useful, please like, subscribe, and turn on the notifications so you don't miss the next videos coming up every Friday. So for now, happy singing, everyone.